Hello there, everyone. How are you all doing? Today, I'm back with another tier list video, and today I wanted to switch it up and do the NHL. So now I think I've officially hit all four of the major, U.S. sports. And that's kind of what I plan on doing, is maybe doing kind of like a mix of everything, during the course of the future of the channel. I don't really want to confine myself to one sport. I might talk about some sports more than others. But I really just want to be all over the place and talk about stuff that I enjoy. And so today, we're going to be covering the NHL, and we are going to be ranking all of the NHL teams going into next year. I know it's a little bit early, but I feel like it's better now to kind of get my thoughts and opinions out of the way, and to kind of, see how everything goes. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks they're an up-and-coming young team. They made the playoffs last year for the first time in, I believe, a long time, actually. Which, good for them. Let me just fact check. When was the last time they made the playoffs? It seems like... Oh boy. This is going back a long time. It seems like it was the 2016-2017 season. Or actually, no. It looks like it was the 2017-2018. So this is their first time making the playoffs in about 8 years. And their core looks really good right now. They gave out a few hefty contracts during the season. Mainly, I believe, one to Leo Carlson. But overall, their core, they've done a good job supplementing their core. And I think they're definitely a team of note. And so I think I'm going to put Anaheim in B tier for now. They've definitely turned it around, and they have a chance to jump further up in this tier list. But for where they're at right now, I feel like the B tier makes sense. All right. Moving on to the next team. We have the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins, they're a solid team. I believe they made the playoffs last year, but I don't think they got very far, if I remember that correctly. I think they lost in the first round. But they did a pretty solid job. Yeah, they ended up losing to the Sabres, which is a crazy turn of events for Sabres fans, but we'll get to them next. The Bruins, they're a solid team. They did better than most people thought they were going to. Obviously, you have David Pastrnak, Pavel Zacha, Morgan Geekie, Elias Lindholm. Just some really good players on this team. And yeah, I mean, solid all around. So I'd put the Brewers in B tier along with Anaheim. I think I prefer Anaheim just because their core is a little younger. But still really good teams. Next up is the Buffalo Sabres. Now, I have a hard time kind of figuring out what I think of the Buffalo Sabres. They're a really, really good team. Don't get that mistaken. But going from one of the worst teams in the East to one of the best is definitely a bizarre turn of events. They won many more games than I think most people thought they were going to. They snapped, I think it was a 15-year playoff drought, which is good for them. It's actually crazy that playoff drought was that long. I think I'm going to put them in A tier. Their core is really young, led by, Tage Thompson, Rasmus Dahlin, Ryan McLeod, Matthias Samuelsson, and I don't know if they made any major moves in the offseason. In fact, I think they might have made a subtraction at one point. But I don't really remember. Yeah, it was Peyton Curbs, Zach Funk Washington for Tyler Kopf was an interesting move to make. But all in all, I feel like where this team is at, they're pretty good. So I think the A tier makes sense. Moving on, we have the Calgary Flames. They're not good at all. They're going to be in the F tier, I think. You trade Nazem Kadri last season back to Colorado. This team also is in a weird state where they tried to I don't know. They're just in a weird spot. They got Jake Middleton third and a fourth. So they sold in the offseason a little bit. Which good for them. They need to recoup draft picks where they can. They're just not a very strong team overall. Kind of looking at, who they have on their roster right now. You got Michael Blackland, Morgan Frost, Blake Coleman. Although I'm pretty sure Blake Coleman actually got sent to the Wild in that trade. I could be wrong though. Yeah, he did. So Blake Coleman isn't even on the team. You have Joel Farabee. That's kind of it. Dustin Wolf was a really good goalie the year prior, but he struggled a lot more this season. Just overall not a good year for the Flames. So they're going to go in that F tier. Next team up, the Carolina Hurricanes. The Stanley Cup winners. They definitely deserve to go in S tier. They have a strong roster. Obviously coming off of a Stanley Cup win. Their roster is incredibly steep. Sebastian Aho, I believe Jordan Staal. Logan Stankoven. Andre, I'm going to butcher some of these names, by the way. Andre Servichkinov? Yeah, I think so. Seth Jarvis, Nikolai Ehers, John Carlson, Sean Walker, Taylor Hall. Just really deep team. Keandre Miller, too. Overall, just a bunch of, good players on a good team that finally broke through and won the Stanley Cup. Next is the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm going to put them in the C tier. They're in, a really weird spot in terms of where they are as a franchise. Because they're both good and bad. You have guys like Connor Bedard, who's really good. Frank Nazar, Tyler Bertuzzi. But you also have some guys who are not as good. And overall, the team kind of struggles with its team depth a lot. And they definitely have a lot of room that they need to do in order to improve. They were supposed to be one of those teams on the rise after Bedard came up and had the year that he had in 23-24. But he just has not been able to stay healthy since. And it's kind of blown up on the Blackhawks. So I'm going to put them in C tier for now. They have a lot of room to improve. And I think they're capable of it, but they need to make a few moves first. Colorado, your President's Trophy winner, going in the S tier. Obviously, another year older, which is not necessarily great for this core. But McKinnon, Brock Nelson, Natchez, Cale Makar, one of the best defensemen in the NHL right now. Nazem Kadri as well. Lenkinen, Landeskog, just really deep team. And overall, they deserve to be in this S tier. They were the best team in the NHL. They did end up getting swept by the Golden Knights in the playoffs, which was kind of wild. But it is what it is. Colorado is still one of the best teams in the NHL, barring any regression. So they're going to go in S tier. The Blue Jackets. I'm going to put them in C tier with the Blackhawks. They're in such a weird state as a franchise right now, where they could be really good, but they just aren't. They struggle to not choke at the end of the season. They have good players like Zach Reneski, even though I heard he requests a trade. So we'll have to see how that goes. Kirill Machenko, Adam Fantil, Charlie Coyle, Sean Monahan, Ivan Porpanov, Mason Marchment. There's good players on this team, but they just keep choking at the end of the season. So I really can't put them higher than C tier until I see them move on. It just doesn't make any sense to keep them any higher than that. The next team is going to be the Dallas Stars. They are also going to go into the S tier. Probably below Colorado, just because they've choked more than Colorado. In fact, they lost in the first round this year, which was pretty bonkers, actually. And they lost to the Wild, too, and the Wild had a big playoff series losing streak. So, I mean, when you choke like that, you know, you definitely get knocked down a peg, but they're still an S-tier team. Wyatt Johnson, Jason Robertson got re-signed on a 1 year. They couldn't figure out a long-term deal, which is probably not good for them. Rantanen, obviously. Miro Heiskanen, Rupe Hintz, Duchesne. Even though it might have been Duchesne's last game, I don't know. It could have been. I don't remember. Jamie Bean, Sam Steele, just a good team all around. And you also, you know, you have one of the best goalies in the league, with Ottinger, who had a bit of a rough season, but he's still one of the best goalies in the league, and you can always rely on him to play well. So S tier for sure. Detroit, they're going to go in the B tier, but they're going to go in the bottom of the B tier. Again, choke job every single season. They somehow managed to pull this off every single time. At one point, they were far and away in a playoff spot, and they just completely choked down the end of the season. To a point where in the offseason, Dylan Larkin asked out. Now, I don't believe he's been traded yet, and I don't know if he is going to get traded, but definitely not a good spot to be in. Alex Dipperkrant, Morton Cedar, Lucas Raymond, Andrew Coop, Patrick Kane, although he went back to the Blackhawks. So it's a good homecoming for Patrick Kane. But all in all, team has some good players, but not a ton. So they're going to go in the B tier, especially for their choking. The Oilers right now, they're going to go in B tier. They're going to go above Detroit, but below Boston. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, two of the best players in the entire the NHL, and then just kind of a bunch of role players around them. And that's kind of not what you want. They were all right this year. Evan Bouchard's good. On the defensive side, Zach Heyman's good as well. But Heyman had his injury issues this season. And all around, outside of those three, I mean, all the rest are kind of like bottom six guys. And so when you only have three real good players on the offensive, like in the center and the wings, it's going to be tough to win games. And so that's kind of where the Oilers are at. Another issue of theirs is the goaltending. They have no good goalies at all. It was so bad they had to trade Stuart Skinner for Tristan Jarry halfway through the year, and that still didn't work out. So Oilers in the B tier, I feel like that just makes the most sense for them. And yeah, Florida, they're going to come back next year. They're going to be in the S tier. You have both the Kachuk brothers and still most of that core from when they won the Stanley Cup a year and a half ago. Even though they didn't make the playoffs last year, I mean, they're stacked still. Sam Bennett, Sam Reinhart, Lindell, Marchand, Ekblad, Forsling, Seth Jones. I mean, this team is just stacked head to toe. You have Bobrovsky still, who is definitely on the decline, but still a really good goalie for what it's worth. It's just going to be a great team next year. The LA Kings, I'm going to put probably above the Oilers. They're just in a tough spot. I think this year they lost to the Golden Knights in the first round. I could be mistaken now. There's just not, or no, it was to Colorado. They went up against an immovable object. There's not really much you can do about it. They had their moments, but they definitely struggled down the end of the season. But Adrian Kemp's really good. Quentin Byfield, Panarin, Kopitar, who retired, Brent Clark, Scott Laughton. Just some interesting guys on this team all around. But they definitely need to put themselves together. Definitely on the offensive end. Because they struggled on offense a lot last year despite having a ton of talent. So if they can put themselves together, they'll be higher. But for right now, that's where I think I'd put them. Next up is the Minnesota Wild. They're going to go in the A tier. Probably below the Sabres. Kirill Kaprizov is one of the best players in the entirety of the NHL. But you have, Matt Boldy, Joel Eriksson, Quinn Hughes was the big acquisition that they made, and they finally won a playoff series, which good for them. But you have Jasper Wallstedt, Philip Gustafsson, who is also pretty solid. Good goalie tandem there. All around, just a really solid team, and definitely one of the better teams out west. Next up is the Montreal Canadiens. They're going to go in the A tier as well. After rebuilding for a little bit, they're finally back, and they made a very solid playoff push, I believe, last season. They ended up making, I believe, the second round. Or actually, no, they made the East Finals. They played Carolina, and Montreal is just really good. Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Lane Houston, Noah Dobson, Ivan Detmanov, Demidov, Jake Evans. Just a good team all around, really deep. Definitely one of the better teams in the East. The Predators, I'm going to put the Predators in the D tier. They're stuck with a lot of bad contracts right now, but they're not horrible. They could be doing a lot worse for themselves. Ryan O'Reilly, Steven Stamkos, Philip Forsberg, Roman Josi, Marshall, and you have a very solid goalie. You have a very solid goalie in Jose Suarez, who definitely had a bit of a down year, but he's much better than that, I feel like. So hopefully he'll keep, performing at an elite level. But all in all, you're just stuck with a lot of old guys on bad contracts, and so you're not really going to be able to get too far at the point that you're at, which you did better than most people thought. So, I mean, good for you, But yeah, that's where the Predators are going to go. Next on the list is the New Jersey Devils. New Jersey is another team that is not great, but they're not horrible either. Obviously, you have two of the Hughes brothers, Nico Hischier, Meyer, Jesper Bratt, and a few other interesting players as well, Dougie Hamilton. But just not healthy at all last season. Definitely struggled at points. I'm willing to put them in D tier above the Predators just because they could jump towards the C in this B tier. I don't think Nashville will. So yeah. Next up, we have the New York Islanders. They almost made a playoff spot last year after being the worst team in the NHL, or one of the worst teams in the NHL the year prior, which good for them. They collapsed a little bit at the end of the season, but they made a big move for Braden Shen at the deadline. Obviously, Matt Schaefer was really good in his rookie year. He ended up winning the Calder. Bo Hovart, Matthew Barzal, Anders Lee, Ilya Sorkin, just a bunch of really solid players on this team that just choked at the end of the season. So I think this is kind of like the choker tier, kind of. So I'd probably put them, honestly, probably at top C. Next up is the New York Rangers. I'm going to put them in the top of the D tier. They're going in a full-blown rebuild. It was so bad that they had to make an apology post to their fans halfway through the season about how bad the season had been going. That's how bad it was. But you have some interesting players: Vincent Torchek, JT Miller, Mika Zibanejad, Will Cooley, Adam Fox, and Igor Shesterkin, who's really good as well. Some solid players, but just not healthy, not good. Everybody's aging a little. So they're going to go in D tier. Ottawa is next up. After the Tkachuk trade, I'm going to put them in the D tier. They made the playoffs last year, but they ended up getting swept out of the first round. And yeah, they ended up selling off their best player in Tkachuk, or one of their best players in Tkachuk. Definitely not a good spot to be in. Getting swept out of the first round is not great. And then proceeding to sell in the offseason after that, not good either. Especially after just turning the corner. So I think the D tier is a very fair tier to put them in. Next up is the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm going to put them in the B tier. They're probably a little bit below the Oilers. This is my home team, so I'm going to try and be as unbiased as possible. They made the playoffs last year. Made it to the second round. Ended up getting swept out of the second round by the Canes, but you can kind of live with that after the years that, the Flyers have been through. Interesting players to note: Zegras, Konecny, Coutier, Sanheim, Mishkov, York, Drysdale. Dan Vladar was great last year. We also got Joseph Woll, which is great. And then Porter Martone is going to be great as well. And hopefully Jet Lachenko as well. This team definitely has a lot of potential next year to get better. So I think the B tier makes sense. So Penguins, I'm going to put them in C tier, just a little below the Islanders. They're getting a year older, which is not good for them. But it was good to see them back in the playoffs this year. Sidney Crosby still on this team, Brian Rust, Anthony Mantha, Erik Karlsson, Evgeny Malkin still here as well. A solid team with solid players, but most of those solid players are in their late 30s. So definitely expect a bit of regression from this team. They might not even make the playoffs next year. So I think the C tier makes the most sense for them. Next is the San Jose Sharks. I'm going to put them in the C tier just below the Islanders. The reason why I have them just below the Islanders is because we've already seen the Islanders take that jump. But I totally could buy in on the Sharks making that jump next season too. They already kind of did at points in the season, but locking up Celebrini is great. You get Will Smith, Wenberg, Graf, Tolfi, and one of the top picks in this draft. I forget who they ended up picking up, but you get one of the top picks in this draft as well. You're going to be stacked, hopefully, and I think they're going to be really good. Next up is the Seattle Kraken. I'm going to put them in that D tier. Just a lot of mid, to be honest with you. Their team's pretty much full of just middle six guys who just don't really they don't have a leader on the team that they can point to and say, okay, this guy's going to go out and score goals, or, oh, this guy's going to go out and he's going to play great defense. They just have a bunch of middle six guys. It's not really a recipe for success. So I'm going to put them in the D tier. Joining them in the D tier is going to be the St. Louis Blues. They ended up selling after making the playoffs the year prior and losing in 7. They're not that great. They had a good second half of the season, but I don't think they were ever going to make the playoffs. Robert Thomas, though, Dylan Holloway, Mason McTavish, Syndergaard, Pavel. Just, interesting players on this team. Jordan Binnington, definitely not the best goalie ever, but he'll do in a pinch. All in all, just team's not very deep. So I think that's where they're going to land. Next up is the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay is going to go in B tier. I'd put them above the Kings, I think. They're really, really good. Needless to say, I mean, Nikita Khrushchev, insanely good. Jake Ensel, Braden Hagel, Kirill, Braden Point, Bjorkstad, Vasilevsky. I could keep going, really. Team stack head to toe. It's just they haven't had playoff success for the most part in a few years now. So it's kind of hard to put them above anybody else ahead of them. But really good team, perennial playoff team, and I guarantee you they'll be back again next year. The next team I have is the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now they're going to go in the D tier, but having Austin Matthews and Gavin McKenna is elite. You really can't get much better than that, to be honest with you. The Leafs should be a little bit better next season, especially with Gavin McKenna. But it's really just a matter of what this team is able to cobble together. But John Tavares as well. Darren Radish. Nylander is really great. Morgan Riley. Definitely some good players on this team. But a lot of room to get better as well. Next up is the Utah Mammoth. They're going to go in this B tier. They're going to go right above Detroit. They made the playoffs last year for the first time as the Mammoth. I think they put up a little bit of a fight, which is good for them. It's good to see that core kind of start to turn around on themselves and, pick up the slack. They ended up pushing the Golden Knights to 6 games, and ended up making the Stanley Cup final. So it's a pretty impressive turnaround right there. All in all, good team, good players on it. Nick Schmaltz, Dylan Gauthier, Clayton Keller, just to name a few. Mackenzie Weegar as well, Logan Cooley. Just some good players on this team. So I'm going to put them in the B tier. Going into the F tier is going to be the Canucks. I mean, there's not really much I can say about the Canucks. They went from one of the most impressive teams in the NHL all the way down to one of the worst. Just unfortunate all around kind of how their franchise has turned over the past, 2 years. They definitely probably should be better than what they are right now, but they just aren't. So that's where I'm going to put them. Next is the Golden Knights. Despite them making the Stanley Cup Finals, I'm going to put them in B tier. It always felt like a bit of a Cinderella run for them, where kind of everything that went right did go right. Not to say that they're a bad team, because they are a good team, and they definitely had a chance to make a run, especially because they were red hot at the end of the season. But definitely is not on the same level as some of the other teams in the West in terms of talent, and in terms of potential as well. So yeah, that's where I'd put them. Next up is the Washington Capitals. I'm gonna put them in the C tier, just above the Blue Jackets. You have Alexander Ovechkin, who's just one of the best NHL players of all time. So even if he is really, really old, he's obviously going to still lead your team to a good spot. And he's definitely capable of doing so, even at 40. But all in all, the team around him is great. They definitely have a lot of work that they could do. But Alex Took is a good chance to try and supplement this team. Dylan Strome, Jacob Chicherin, Tom Wilson. Definitely some players on this team. Jordan Kyrou as well. They're trying to make one last push with Ovechkin, which is respectable. So I'm going to put them in the C tier. I got to see it to believe it. But they're capable of maybe making the playoffs. The final team on here is the Winnipeg Jets. I'm going to put them in the D tier above the Rangers. They have a chance to jump up. but they're definitely just not as good as some of the other teams around them. They have some good players on it or on their team, like Moresi. Um, you definitely have some good teams on, or you definitely had some good players on this team, like Mark Sheffley, Kyle Connor, Josh Moresi, Connor Hellbuck. There's definitely some interesting players on this team, but all around they just struggled last year. I think they're better than what the struggle said, but at the same time, you never really know. So I'm going to put them in the D tier. All right, well, if you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. And I will see you all in the next one. See ya.